Have you ever added someone as a friend on social media? I've made a few connections on Facebook, and honestly, I used to think people exaggerated the dangers of the internet. To me, it felt like an overreaction. That is, until I encountered Emily. It was through her that I came to understand that while most online strangers are harmless, sometimes you stumble upon the wrong one, and things can spiral quickly. One lazy afternoon, boredom got the best of me, so I opened Facebook to scroll aimlessly. That's when Emily's profile appeared in my feed. Her radiant smile seemed to light up the screen, and her bio mentioned her love for horror films, just like me. Without hesitation, I sent a friend request. To my surprise, she accepted within moments. Our conversation started effortlessly, and soon it felt as though we had known each other for years. We bonded over our favorite horror flicks, exchanged personal stories, and even shared a few secrets. As the weeks passed, it felt inevitable that we would meet in person. Emily suggested I visit her home, assuring me that her father was friendly and wouldn't mind. I hesitated. Living alone, it would have been easier to invite her over, but I didn't want to appear pushy. Against my instincts, I agreed to her invitation, not realizing the gravity of my mistake. I recall vividly the night I went to her house. Nervous excitement filled me, the kind that comes with meeting someone new. I followed the directions she gave, and upon arrival, found myself staring at an aging, neglected house that looked out of place in the neighborhood. An unsettling feeling began to creep in, but I shook it off and rang the bell. A man answered the door, around 50 years old, with eyes that carried an intensity hard to describe. Yet, he greeted me warmly, introducing himself as Emily's father. With a friendly grin, he invited me inside, explaining that Emily was almost ready. While I waited in the living room, my gaze drifted to framed photos on the wall. A cheerful man and young girl smiling. I assumed they were Emily and her father during happier times. As I sat quietly, faint voices echoed from upstairs. Their exchange didn't sound pleasant. "I'll be down soon," Emily's voice called out, but her father's reply carried an edge I couldn't ignore. "Hurry up. Don't make him wait," he snapped. Moments later, her father returned and apologized for the delay. "She's just finishing up," he assured me. As we chatted, I noticed his gaze lingered far too long. His smile, at first inviting, now felt almost predatory. Something was off. His words became strange, intrusive. "So you've been chatting with Emily on Facebook? That's great," he said, his tone sending chills down my spine. I knew then that coming here was a mistake. The room felt heavier, suffocating. He continued talking, leaning in slightly as if to close the space between us. "You know," he began, "if you were a young woman instead of a guy, you might have been here to meet me, not my daughter." A cold shiver ran down my spine. I tried brushing it off as an awkward joke, but the unease lingered. His gaze bore into me, relentless. Something about him felt dangerous, yet I stayed rooted to the couch. Suddenly his focus shifted toward the stairs. He paused, listening intently. "She's calling for you," he finally said, his voice melodic and unnerving. "Go wait for her upstairs." I hesitated. I hadn't heard Emily call out, but the intensity in his eyes compelled me to move. I climbed the stairs cautiously and entered Emily's room. To my surprise, it was charming, warm and inviting, adorned with posters and trinkets that gave it personality. The sound of water running from the bathroom suggested she was showering. I sat on the edge of her bed, trying to shake the tension. "Your dad sent me up," I called out, hoping she wouldn't be startled. No response. Minutes passed before I heard footsteps, but not from the bathroom. The hallway door creaked open. Standing there was him, but something was terribly wrong. He wore a wig and a dress, eerily resembling Emily. "Sorry for the wait," he said, mimicking Emily's voice almost perfectly. "I hope Dad didn't make you uncomfortable." Frozen in place, I stared in disbelief. It was the same voice I'd heard on our calls. "Is this some kind of sick joke?" I demanded, inching away. The figure advanced slowly, hand extended. As he brushed the wig from his face, a glint of metal caught my eye. A knife. Panic surged through me. This wasn't Emily, it never was. Desperate, I sprinted into the bathroom, locking the door as he lunged after me. His fists pounded the wood furiously. Inside, I realized the water continued running, but no one stood beneath it. Trembling, I pulled the shower curtain aside. A skeleton sat propped on a chair, draped in faded women's clothes. My stomach lurched. From outside, the pounding stopped. A new voice emerged. "You're always too slow, Dad. Don't let him get away this time." The voice was unmistakably Emily's, or at least it sounded like her. He argued back, his voice shifting between his own and hers in rapid succession. I knew I had to get out. The door burst open. He stood there, knife glinting. I grabbed the toilet lid, hurling it at him. It bought me seconds. I bolted from the room, hurtled down the stairs and smashed through the glass window, ignoring the cuts. I ran until I reached the police station. Later, officers arrested him. Investigations revealed Emily had died long ago. Her father, suffering from a severe dissociative disorder, had assumed her identity, luring others to their deaths. I no longer add strangers online, and I never forget Emily, or the man who pretended to be her. If you felt like me once in your life, then subscribe to our channel for more stories like this.